to really give student athletes opportunity, it's limited in its structure.
All right, great, excellent.
Just to add with the whole research thing, because, you know, I think it's important, as, you know, he was saying as far as the administration, yes, the passion or whatever, but UE has, like Annette Knott is one of the graduate from the master's program, and she have done research on retaining, attracting, and developing athletes. She used to be the vice president of Trinidad and Tobago Hockey Fraternity, which is she haven't taken it on the publishing level, but I'm sure she's still developing it, so it's something that's happening. There are also students who have done things in staff perception in leadership, something that we need. Students have done things in analyzing the effectiveness of students' participation in football here in Trinidad, the importance of campus recreation. How important is campus recreation? Do people come to university because of a well-developed campus recreation program? They have also done research on the assessment of the administration of cricket. So there are things being done, and the question really is the institution out there, are they going to use the information? And I think it's UWE's responsibility to get that information out and to know that we are available to do certain research. Recently, we also, in the tourism department, they have launched a research unit, and we are liaising right now with the Ministry of Sport, met with the minister, and he's very interested in doing some research projects. One particular project that we are going to be doing a proposal for him is looking at sports tourism opportunities for the new facilities that is being built right now. So there are things happening in the research department, and I think we need to collaborate more with the administrators out there.
Just two quick points before. Two quick points, and then we're going to run. One is that it's interesting we're talking about publishing, because I just had a discussion a couple of weeks ago about starting a journal at KPhil, and I think we can collaborate that way and get all of the research out there to the Caribbean so people can see what's happening. So that's one thing. What are we not doing? What are we missing? That's the question really when it comes to having that competitive track and field maybe or tertiary level competition. Something is missing, and we need to come together and put our brains together to get that happening throughout the Caribbean.
Okay, I saw Miss Christine Cummings in, and now she's out. And we are almost out of time. I would really have loved to have heard more views coming from the floor. And now we have a little challenge. So, Christine Cummings, welcome. Technology. So we have Christine Cummings on the line. Technology department. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, and if we can't get it sorted out in a couple seconds, we will have to we'll have to end that session and take a couple quick questions before we end. Christine Cummings, welcome. Christine Cummings, welcome. Technology department, unfortunately, the organizer will have to apologize to Ms. Cummings, but sorry about that. Ms. Cummings, questions? Yes?
Thank you, Chair. Akola Cameron, University of the West
We're not hearing you, but I'm not.
Akola Cameron, University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. I'm hearing comments from Ms. Jackson speaking about the paradigm shift. I'm hearing comments about the fact that we need to respond to the needs of society. And I'm also hearing Chad on the other end saying that there are issues in terms of employability for students who would have graduated from the University of the West Indies. And I think a fundamental question that we need to ask is, that I want to ask the panel is, what do you think should be the role of higher education in terms of sport development and sport management in a Caribbean context? Is it that higher education should have a liberal agenda where the focus is primarily on preparing students to be better citizens and contributing to the development of society? Should it be a vocational agenda where the focus is on preparing students to be employed in the industry and be entrepreneurial? Should it be a more scientific performance agenda where where the focus is on sports training and the physical education aspect of it? And so I think that question needs to be answered as we move forward, because when we're talking about higher education, you're talking about higher education at different levels. You do have the community colleges, you have the university, and then of course we're hearing collaboration with the sporting associations, and each entity has its own role to play as we move sport development forward in the region. And I think we need to ask ourselves, for higher education in particular, what should be our role in the whole scheme of things?
All right, before you have a response, because we are, again, I don't want to emphasize, we're almost out of time. Is there, and it has been so unfair, is there anybody on that side of the room that would wish to ask a quick question? No? I don't blame you. Is there anybody else on this side of the room that will wish to ask a quick question? Go ahead, please. Thank you. And my apologies for not getting to you sooner. You need a mic so that everybody can hear.
Thank you. I'm not sure the role of tertiary. Mr. Chair, panelists, Kelston Court, University of Guyana. Ms. Jackson, you mentioned the positive outcome of sport in Jamaica. And if sport has created a positive blend or a community cohesiveness, can sport be used in Jamaica for peace and development or reduction of violence? What's your thought on that?
All right, so again, I'll ask again, anyone on that side wish to ask a question? Yes, thank you very much. Go ahead. Quick question.
Good day, my name is Anika Harewood. My question is, how do we integrate the secondary school system into higher education in sport? Because I did physical education at the Form 5 level, did very well, got my distinction, but to move up to Form 6, there was nothing there to do at Form 6, so I was forced to do sociology and history, sport, topics that I really didn't like. So how do we integrate it down to the secondary school system in order to move on to university?
Okay, great. So let me hold a second. Let me just exercise the prerogative of the chairman here, chairperson. In answering the question, it will really form your sort of final position and final comments. And as I said, you know, I'll give you about 45 seconds. And what we'll do is that we'll start with Professor Blair. Professor Blair, you are going to start, and if you get it wrong, then that's it. We'll close with you. So I know you don't want that.
You're going to buzz me in a second here?
Just to sum up here, sometimes we've discussed issues and problems, but my whole perspective is about the positive things coming out of the Caribbean. Seeing the discussions, the change take place, the young students that are going through our universities and being educated, this is a fantastic thing. And we're not going to see the results today or tomorrow, but over time, we're going to see tremendous change because of what our higher education systems are doing. And I think it does spill down into the secondary schools, and it needs to. We need to have these same discussions.
Okay. I'll address the Akola's question. With reference to how the tertiary institution assists with employment opportunity, I think sport in the Caribbean, and specifically I speak about Trinidad and Tobago, we have a very small market with limited opportunities. So my personal opinion is really trying to prepare our students for entrepreneurial opportunities, to have an entrepreneurial mind and creating their own opportunity in the sporting world. The other area that I really think that we should look at is the kind of assignment we give the students. It must be within the sporting institution in Trinidad and Tobago. It must be practical. Because that's the only way you can fit yourself in, to see what's needed, to go out there and see what really exists in the sporting world. Not what somebody writes in a book 20 years ago, 50 years ago, and those kind of things. But it's really about more practical experience, using the information that would have been written and stuff. It's not that it is all relevant, but we are too small to be generalists. We have to be very specific in what we do and very targeted. And I think once we assign, give assignment that gets the student into the sporting arena from a marketing perspective, event management, human resources, whatever it is that you're teaching, they need to go out and do it outside in the sporting world, and thereby creating their own opportunity.
Thank you very much.
All right, just quickly, to your question, I was just on a committee a couple of months ago, and CAPE is now bringing out a physical education A-level program, so that should be happening soon, later this year or sometime next year. To your question, no university is responsible for finding a job, unfortunately. That's the truth. That's the blunt truth. I went to Temple, graduated in 2007. It took me 6 or 7 years to find a job in my area. Right? And it doesn't matter which university you go to. You just have to blood, sweat, and tears and get out there and find that job. That's the long and short of it. My whole idea about this conference is a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful start to what we can do in the region. We need to do more of this throughout the region. And we need, I'm going to hammer it home, we need to collaborate. Makes no sense Trinidad doing their own thing, Barbados doing their own thing, Jamaica doing their own thing, and we're not communicating. We're not sharing the information. We're not putting it out there. And I'm going to say to my colleagues that, you know, I'm going to leave here this morning saying that a journal will be coming soon. A journal will be coming soon.
Thank you very much. I have a minute, right? No. So just a quick response to your. You don't have to only do things in sport. You want to be broad-based. So even as you got that and you're moving up, you do want to do these other courses that's going to support your education as you go up and you start to specialize later on. So don't get caught up in that at the secondary level. You must only do things in sport. Then you will be into that box and you won't get the exposure. In response to the statement about that, I do agree with my colleague. I think that really is the answer. You do not get, you are preparing students for the world out there, and they grasp the opportunities. What I think we are trying to say here is that we need more documentation in sport. We need more courses in sport. But the only way we can get that, and I disagree with my colleague here, it's not about Trinidad. It is not about Trinidad. It cannot be that you're going to have your students only think things in Trinidad. It's important for them to go out to the rest of the world to see where Trinidad is at. If they stay in Trinidad, they will not understand what is happening around them. So I disagree with my colleague quite comfortably on that subject. To your answer about Usain Bolt, ladies and gentlemen, the days that Usain Bolt and now Shelley and Fraser run in any world international competition, it has been shown that it's usually crimeless days. The entire country is tuned in, and I'm getting cold bumps because it really is true. I mean, is tuned in to what Usain is going to do. Sport at that level makes a complete difference to what happens in society. The little guys on the corner, the ones who like to push drugs, the ones who just want to be part of gangs, they love athletes. They love the success, and we have an impact on them. The question is, how are we using that collectively as governments and as organizations and as a region? My two more seconds is to say I really appreciate this conference. I thank you for the feedback. What makes a conference good is how we can interact with our audience. And I thank you for your questions. I pray that out of this, Professor Ruddock, that we can get more, not just the work that you're already doing, because you talked about some things you're doing, but who knows? And it's really answering some of the questions I'm talking about. We must publish as a Caribbean so that we must share the information. Others knows what we're doing. We must find a way of doing it. I look forward to the journal. You're having another conference in 2 years. The journal will be out for you to get copies of. Am I correct?
I hope so.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, sir.
I think Ms. Jackson has said it all, and anything I say now will be redundant. I know that we have come to an end. We won't want to cut into your break, which is important after such a informative and intense session. I know that you have an excellent session coming up, psychology, sociology, and sport implications for the Caribbean. It will be chaired by my good friend.